Hi there. It's 11 p.m. on a Friday night. Man, I'm pushing these lives later and later. Today I was outside in the sun since like 4 p.m. today, and I put sunscreen on, so not burnt. Look at this, not burnt. You can't tell because the lighting's weird, but feeling like hot, feeling warm. So that's on my mind. Today, I did the exercise that I was thinking about the other day, that I was chatting about the other day, about just writing out the jobs that your team has and that you have. And so I did that today. So here's my long list. That's me and my sister. And then the two bookkeepers I have and my assistant. And it was an interesting exercise because I found it difficult to start with myself. I actually decided I was going to start with my bookkeepers because I have a much clearer picture in my head of what they do. And I think that's because I've thought this through before. I had to create a job description for the one that I did a proper hiring process for, and it's just a lot easier to be objective about a job that somebody else is doing and that you're reviewing and managing, I guess. So I started with them, wrote, maybe, I don't know, 8 things for each of them. They weren't super detailed. I wasn't trying to write out like a manual for each of them. It was just sort of, process and categorize receipts weekly, reconcile bank and credit card statements monthly, that kind of thing. So pretty broad, but not so broad that there's a lot of little pieces in each one of them. And then I got to my assistant, and that was a much harder thing to write out because she wears a lot of hats for me. And so those got a little bit more broad because I didn't want to write down every little thing, but I wrote down things like she triages emails for me, and she responds to non-accounting questions, and she does emails for me. She writes to my email list. She takes some of my Facebook Lives and turns them into emails. Rewrite a little bit more and sort of change it a little bit, but that's sort of the basic process. And so writing down hers was a little harder, but it was definitely easier than trying to do my own. And then for my sister, so my sister's been working with me for a few months, and she really does everything. She's been helping me with like process improvement and how to be more efficient and productive in my day. And showed me how to use Google Analytics, and she's been testing systems and editing videos and just like all the things that I don't have time to do, but that needs to be done. Kira's been really great about doing those for me. So that one was an even harder list to create, but I was able to get feedback from all of those people. I was able to write that list and then get the feedback to say, is this true? Is this really all the things that you do, or would you add to this list, or what? And then I had to write my own. It was so hard. It was like, what do I even do? What do I even do during the day? And I was like, how do I categorize those things? And it was interesting to try and write those things down when I'm so in the details of them day to day, because I'm doing them every day, obviously. And so my list is probably 3 times as long as everybody else's list, which makes sense because I'm the main person in the business. I'm the only one that works full time. And so, yeah, my list should be longer. But it was interesting to write that list. And then I got feedback from my partner, and we chatted about what is it that I actually do every day. But you know the most interesting thing about this whole thing? I thought, I'm going to write out these lists, and I'm going to write like my list. I'm going to be like, I realize now I could delegate this, that, and the other thing. But it turns out that's how my brain works, in the sense that like I had already done that for the most part, tried to offload these major tasks to my team. And so in writing these specific tasks out, there was none, well, there was 1 or 2 that I was able to be like, yeah, that definitely needs to go to a different team member. And what I realized is it's not necessarily enough to just write out these tasks. It's about the granularity of some of them. So in one case, it was to answer accounting related emails, and that should definitely be a me job. But there's shades of gray in that job, in that, you know, there are simple accounting questions that need to be answered, and then there are more complex and sort of a range in between. So can someone on my team, like can one of my bookkeepers or my assistant happens to have worked in banking, and she was a recruiter for an accounting company, so she does have accounting knowledge. So, you know, can one of those two people be answering some of those less complex accounting emails? And so in writing out these tasks, it became very apparent that each one of them is a shade of gray, and that perhaps I can't give up the task entirely, but maybe I can give up some of the less complex pieces so that I can really focus on the complex end of things. So that was an interesting exercise today, and not done, because I still need to figure out how I'm going to act on this now that I have the data, I guess, now that I've written it out and I can see it all. I would love to know if you've attempted this. Have you tried this for your own business? And if so, how'd it go? Were you able to write out your own tasks? Was it hard? Did you get any efficiencies out of it? I'd love to know. So leave a note for me in the comments, and let's chat about it. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have an excellent weekend. I'll see you tomorrow.